He had a real, what I thought initially when he pitched an incredible idea is revitalizing and rebuilding Detroit's music scene. And so we approached him on helping him achieve this. Realized right away what a monumental task that is. Also realized right away by Sunday we would not have a feasible product per se, website, or even some type of launch. But what we did want to do is to achieve solutions to the problems that may exist within what he wanted to achieve. And so when he pitched Neo Motown, we realized that the problems to solve right away was that Detroit isn't really seen as a viable musical industry or market. The artists don't want to stay here, industry professionals don't want to work here, and this creates basically a giant gap in the community where nothing can be successful. What would be the immediate solution for this? Well, we believe DetroitSharp would actually be the solution that could solve this problem and actually build a community that is viable enough to bring Detroit back on the map as far as musical talent is concerned. Again, right away we realized, well, how do we do this as a company? If we want to help Detroit and make Detroit profitable as a company, are we going to be able to be profitable? Can we even be a company? And all of a sudden, we met Ryan, who was a director for a nonprofit organization. And he thought, well, what about nonprofit? And all of a sudden, things started to come in line. And as our mission statement states, we're a nonprofit organization, I didn't memorize this, engaged in reimagining and revitalizing the current musical industry by empowering the artist while mobilizing the abundant talent and resources here in Detroit. And then immediately you have to ask yourself, okay, that's great, you want to be a nonprofit organization, but why do we need your nonprofit organization? Well, obviously we want to give the opportunity here for local talent. And more importantly, we really feel that the artists are no longer empowered, but they can be empowered. And that's the platform that we want to provide them. So if we start looking at the concept visualization, that DetroitSharp is actually this community, where the artists, the community, the community and industry professionals can engage in together versus separately in their buckets, which creates isolation, as I mentioned before, the gap that currently exists. So let's look at kind of how the models exist as far as musical industry is concerned. If you look at a traditional model, you got the record label or company at the very top. In their funnel is the artists, all the professionals, PR, all the expenses, funneling to make a product. If that product creates a profit, profit goes back into that funnel, not necessarily empowering the artist. So if we look at the DetroitSharp model, the artist is in the middle, and everything centers around it. It creates a product still, but the profits go back into the artist. That's supporting the nonprofit organization model. So how do we do this? Well, we gotta let people know that we're there. More importantly, we have to gain the trust of the local community being that of Detroit. We need to develop a presence, and to do that, we figured the best way to do it, as far as just letting people know we're there, is building an online presence. We just finished building a homepage for a website, and we're also got a Twitter account, because we feel that's going to be the fastest way of letting people know we're there. We also need to gain trust, and this really requires us to identify champions and ambassadors of the musical community right now who may be in line in what we want to achieve. And it's really up to us to kind of pitch it to them, per se, of what we're trying to achieve and see if there's still a viable solution. So we're still at a very high level, but we do want to engage and we want the feedback of the community. It's really important to see if this DetroitSharp model will work. We want to get into the nitty-gritty. The realization is we do need some money, so we have to then identify the foundations and agencies that can give us the money to float our boat, so to speak. We also have to internally look at resource development and see, are we going to work in an office? Are we going to be viral, remote? How is this actually going to take place, and how will we communicate with each other internally? So again, if we look back at the DetroitSharp model, the focus again is to empower the artists through education, showing them how they can utilize the sources on the web that we're familiar with to make them successful in their own business adventures. This, of course, will help mobilize the industry and create economic opportunity here in Detroit. 1 minute. Yep. 1 minute? Excellent, thank you, sir. So here's our team. Ryan, Hubert, Jenny, myself, Norm, and then we have Ramya, who's not here, really pulled together and really threw this against the wall to see if this was a viable solution. What we wanted to accomplish by the end of the weekend was, would this work? And can we now take this to someone who is perhaps a nonprofit organization and say, these are the bullet points, or excuse me, this is where your concept is leaking. So that was really important for us to accomplish, and I believe we did. So I want to thank everyone. This weekend was amazing. Shannon and everyone who brought this together, and I appreciate everyone's support. Thank you very much.